On September 11, 2001, the world was changed forever when hijackers flew 2 planes into the World Trade Center towers in New York City and 1 plane into the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. These unthinkable acts of terror were perpetrated by Al-Qaeda, a terrorist organization headed by Osama bin Laden. The events of that day would become immortalized in history as 9/11s, and would act as a catalyst for the U.S. to declare a war on terror. In the wake of the attacks, U.S. President George W. Bush declared a war on terror, with the stated goal of disrupting, dismantling, and defeating terrorist threats at their source. The U.S. response to the attacks was swift and decisive. The U.S. launched a series of military operations in Afghanistan, Iraq, and elsewhere in the Middle East and Central Asia, targeting Al-Qaeda and its Taliban supporters. These operations also included the detention and interrogation of suspects, the use of controversial enhanced interrogation techniques, and controversial drone strikes. The U.S. response to 9/11 also included a number of sweeping changes to U.S. security and foreign policy. The U.S. enacted the USA Patriot Act, which allowed for increased surveillance, increased detention of suspects, and more restrictions on civil liberties. The U.S. also established the Department of Homeland Security and the National Counterterrorism Center. The U.S. war on terror has had a lasting impact on U.S. foreign policy and security. Many of the measures taken in response to 9/11 remain in place, and the U.S. continues to wage a war on terror, with operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as U.S. drone strikes in Pakistan and Yemen. The events of 9/11 had a profound and long-lasting impact on U.S. foreign policy, security, and society. The U.S. response to the attacks, including the declaration of a war on terror, has reverberated throughout the world and has had a lasting impact on U.S. foreign policy, security, and society. The U.S. will continue to wage a war on terror, and the attacks of 9/11 will remain as one of the most significant events in recent history.